On my world, it means hope.
Man of Steel. The movie begins on the planet Krypton, where a woman named Lara is giving birth to a baby boy. Her husband Jor-El assists her during the delivery. This child is special because he's the first natural birth on Krypton in centuries. Meanwhile, Krypton faces destruction. The planet's core is collapsing, and it could explode at any moment. Jor-El rushes to the ruling council, desperately asking them to give him the Codex, a device containing the genetic blueprint of every Kryptonian ever born. Before they can respond, General Zod storms in with his soldiers, killing guards without mercy. Zod declares the council disbanded, blaming their endless debates for Krypton's ruin. He asks Jor-El to join his coup, but his old friend refuses. Zod orders his men to take Jor-El away, but a flying creature helps him escape. Jor-El races through the chaos to retrieve the Codex. Using Kryptonian technology, he fuses the Codex's genetic data directly into his newborn son's cells. Meanwhile, his wife Lara identifies a distant planet where their child could survive. They name their son Kal-El and place him inside a small spacecraft. As they prepare to launch him from Krypton, Lara breaks down. She'll never hear her son's first words or see him take his first steps. Jor-El reassures her that their son is destined for greatness on Earth. Just as the ship begins launching, Zod arrives, trying to stop it. He demands the Codex back, but Jor-El fights him to protect his family. Despite Zod's efforts, the ship escapes. In his rage, Zod kills Jor-El with a blade. Lara tells him their son's name is Kal-El, and that Zod will never reach him. Krypton's guards arrive and arrest Zod and his followers. At their trial, they're sentenced to 300 cycles in the Phantom Zone. As they're frozen and banished, Zod makes a chilling promise to Lara that he will find Kal-El. Days later, Krypton explodes completely. The scene shifts to present-day Earth, where Kal-El now lives as Clark Kent, working on a fishing boat. News breaks that an oil rig has caught fire with workers trapped inside. Clark immediately leaps into action. He smashes through the rig's doors and rushes inside to save everyone, using his superhuman strength. As the platform collapses, Clark holds up a massive section to give the rescue helicopter time to escape. He falls into the ocean with the wreckage. Underwater and unconscious, he remembers his childhood when he first discovered his abilities. As a young boy in school, Clark became overwhelmed by his developing powers. He could hear everything and see through walls, which terrified him. The sensory overload caused him to panic and hide in a storage room. His classmates laughed at him, calling him crazy. His mother, Martha, was called to the school. She calmed him down by encouraging him to focus only on her voice. Another memory surfaces from a school bus trip. The bus crashed off a bridge into a river. As his classmates were drowning, 13-year-old Clark pushed the entire sinking bus to the surface with his bare hands, saving everyone but exposing his secret. That evening, his father, Jonathan, took him to their barn and showed him the spaceship they had found him in. He also revealed a strange metallic device discovered with Clark. Jonathan explained that the metal wasn't from Earth. Jonathan warned Clark that if he revealed his powers too soon, humanity might reject him. But he assured Clark that one day, when the time was right, he would show the world who he truly was. Back in the present, Clark keeps a low profile by working various jobs. At one point, he's working as a waiter at a bar when a troublemaker harasses a waitress. Clark intervenes, but when the man tries to push him, Clark doesn't budge. The troublemaker later discovers his truck is completely destroyed. Meanwhile, at an excavation site in Antarctica, reporter Lois Lane from the Daily Planet arrives to cover a mysterious discovery. Clark is also there, assigned to carry her luggage. The military dismisses the buried object as an old submarine, but Lois remains suspicious. That night, Lois follows Clark as he uses his heat vision to carve a path through the frozen mountain. He discovers a buried alien spaceship and enters it. Clark carries a key around his neck that Jonathan gave him. When he inserts it into the ship's console, it activates a holographic image of Jor-El. Meanwhile, Lois sneaks onto the ship but is attacked by the security system. Clark saves her, but she's badly injured. Clark stops her internal bleeding using his heat vision. The next morning, he leaves with the spaceship. Lois returns to her editor, Perry, pitching the story of an alien among them. However, Perry refuses to publish it, fearing public panic. Determined, Lois approaches another reporter. Aboard the ship, Clark asks Jor-El's hologram about his identity. Jor-El explains that Clark came from Krypton, and that General Zod attempted a coup. The symbol on Clark's suit means hope. On Earth, Clark has grown stronger because Earth's sun is younger and its gravity weaker. Determined to learn more, Lois tracks down Clark's hometown and meets Martha Kent. At the cemetery, Clark approaches her and asks why she's been following him. Clark shares a painful memory. As a teenager, when a tornado threatened their town, Jonathan helped evacuate people, but went back to save their dog. He injured his leg and couldn't run to safety. Clark wanted to save him using his powers, but Jonathan held up his hand, choosing to die rather than let his son expose his secret. Deeply moved by Clark's story, Lois returns to her office and tells Perry she's dropping her alien report. Clark visits his mother, explaining that he's found his true identity. While Martha feels pride, she fears Clark might leave her behind, but Clark reassures her he's not going anywhere. Suddenly, massive alien ships appear over major cities worldwide. A chilling broadcast takes over every screen in every language. General Zod announces that Earth has been sheltering one of his citizens and demands that this person surrender within 24 hours, or the world will suffer. The reporter Lois had shared her findings with leaks the information, exposing her connection. Soon, the FBI and the military arrest her. Struggling with his conscience, Clark visits a church. The priest tells him that sometimes you have to take a leap of faith first. Clark voluntarily approaches the military, allowing them to handcuff him. In the interrogation room with Lois, she asks about the symbol on his chest. Clark explains it means hope, and Lois suggests calling him Superman. Clark easily breaks his handcuffs and reassures the military that he's never harmed anyone. Later, a Kryptonian ship descends, and two soldiers demand custody of both Superman and Lois Lane. Inside the alien ship, Superman quickly begins to weaken as the Kryptonian environment overwhelms him. General Zod reveals his plan to terraform Earth into a new Krypton, which will kill all humans. Zod demands the Codex. Meanwhile, Lois uses the command key Clark gave her. It activates Jor-El's AI throughout the ship. Jor-El helps her escape to a smaller vessel, but the pod becomes damaged during her escape. Superman regains his powers and defeats Zod's guards. As Lois's pod plummets through the atmosphere, Superman reaches it just in time and catches her before it crashes. Meanwhile, Zod and his soldiers invade Martha's house, demanding the location of the Kryptonian ship. Clark arrives and battles Zod. During the fight, Zod's helmet breaks, causing him to experience overwhelming sensory overload. More Kryptonian soldiers arrive, including Sub-Commander Faora. Superman fights them, but struggles against these trained soldiers. During the fight, Faora's helmet is also damaged, giving Clark an advantage. On Zod's ship, his scientist tells him that the Codex is fused into Clark's DNA. Zod realizes he doesn't need Superman alive. Zod activates his world engine, massive terraforming machines. One positions itself over Metropolis, while another hovers over the Indian Ocean. The machines begin transforming Earth's environment, which will kill all humans. Lois reveals Jor-El's plan: crash Superman's original ship into Zod's vessel to create a singularity that destroys the machines. The military prepares a cargo plane, while Superman heads to the Indian Ocean. At the ocean site, the machine's gravitational pull pins Superman down, but he finds the strength to break free and destroys the world engine. The explosion weakens the gravitational effects everywhere. Over Metropolis, Colonel Hardy pilots the plane directly into the world engine. The collision creates a massive black hole. Lois falls toward the singularity, but Superman catches her and escapes the gravitational pull. But General Zod survives, and his grief transforms into murderous rage. Without his people or planet, he has nothing left but revenge against Superman. The two Kryptonians engage in a devastating battle through downtown Metropolis. Their fight levels city blocks as they crash through buildings and cause massive destruction. Zod quickly masters his heat vision and flight abilities. He tells Superman that while Clark learned to suppress his senses, Zod was trained from birth to weaponize his. They battle across the city, even fighting in space, where Zod throws a satellite at Superman. Returning to Earth, they crash into a crowded train station where families are seeking shelter. Superman gets Zod in a chokehold, but with no other options, Zod aims his heat vision at a terrified family. The deadly beams inch closer to the innocent civilians as Superman pleads with him to stop. With no choice left, Superman screams in anguish and breaks Zod's neck, killing him instantly. Lois arrives to find Superman devastated by what he's done. He collapses in grief, having saved humanity, but destroyed the last of his own species, besides himself. Months later, Superman intercepts a military drone spying on him. He crushes it effortlessly and warns General Swanwick to stop the surveillance. He declares that he's as American as anyone, but answers only to himself. The movie ends with Clark Kent starting his new job at the Daily Planet newspaper. He's warmly welcomed by everyone, including Lois Lane, who recognizes him but plays along with his disguise. Clark visits his father's grave with Martha, reflecting on how Jonathan would be proud of the man he's become, now known to the world as Superman. Thanks for watching till the end. Your support keeps us going and helps us bring more awesome stories to life. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and stay tuned for the next movie on Addict Recap.